Morning, everyone. All organized. We are. Good morning, everyone. This is Carol, so AKA Naughty Boss, live on this fantabulous Friday with two
sisters. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0. Fantabulous Friday. Excuse me. Start of a new week. The end of the week, but the start of a new month. It's July 4th weekend. So much goodness.
Oh yeah, it's going down. I mean, I know there's a lot of festivities going around. I'm sure, really all over the United States. And, again, somebody's got the news on first thing in the morning. Like I walk into the kitchen and that's what I'm looking at. And it is Fantabulous Friday, so I'm going to keep that in mind. So I'm going to address this and kind of, you can have your take and then we'll put it aside. But I thought how sad it is that it's so awesome that it's July 4th weekend, right? We celebrate so much goodness about our country, our flag, what July 4th stands for, freedom, just, everything, fireworks, family. And yet the clown in DC is overseas, totally disrespecting our country, saying some horrific things. Such an embarrassment, especially this time of year where, not that it's the official kickoff of summer, because obviously we already had that with Memorial Day, but, it's a festive time. This country has been through so much over the last couple of years. And, I saw this quote today. It's like both political sides are the parents fighting over, the rights of, parenting the child, which the child happens to be the big brother in DC. And I just thought, what a disservice. This is a time that, God, let's just let our hair down. Let's have some fun. Let's get back to, normal, not a new normal, just normal, just fun, fireworks, cookouts, hot dogs, hamburgers, potato salad, macaroni salad, fruit salad. Who doesn't like fruit salad? I love fruit salad. Swimming, playing kickball, baseball. You have a lot of wiffle ball games going on during July 4th festivities. You've got a lot of, beveraging going on. Everyone's got their favorite beverage. And I thought, can we just stop? Can we just stop this nonsense? Because it's embarrassing. It is not embarrassing. Well, I shouldn't say it's not. I mean, it's embarrassing to our country as a whole, but it should be more embarrassing to the people that voted this meatball in. I mean, to be not on our soil. I mean, even on our soil, he disrespects our country. And that's kind of one of, I kind of look at that aspect as, okay, you're around the table with your family, and you always got that one who sticks their foot in his mouth. Well, that's him 24/7 when he's on our land, our table, our soil. But now he's overseas with leaders from many different areas, and he's disrespecting our country, saying some horrible things. And I just thought, let it go. Speak it. Because it's got to be, this is Fantabulous Friday. We should be celebrating, and none of us should have to wake up to that kind of nonsense. I just wish you would just, and I would like to say think before you speak, but you can't say that in someone in his whatever condition he's in. So I understand that. So I'm not going to disrespect whatever ailment he's going through. But at some point, you need to just stop. And who's ever handling him should be getting an F.
Well, perhaps he did not have his little cue card with him. And I will share with you my cue card.
Oh boy.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
for those of you who are listening to this, I just held up my flipping cue card, which says, and this is what I'm going to say on the subject, because I hear what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. It ticks me off. And what I wrote, and trust me, I can go off. I wrote divider in chief. So Dick for short. And I'll just leave it at that. So
Moving along.
moving right along, you know, maybe the final thing I'll say about it or comment is history, whether we like it or not, is there. It's to be looked upon to not only learn, but to educate. And how can we do things better? How can we do things differently? How can we include everyone without every time that you say or do something where and both sides have tantrums, okay? You know,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying, but what I am saying is we still cannot have, excuse me, a logical or a really good discussion, because if you try to, it's misconstrued, and you know, you're called names, and like as we said, you know, for every action there's a reaction. So I at this point have to remove my viewing displeasure of the news, because that's good for my soul, for my sanity, because it is infuriating for me. And, you know, obviously it's July, thinking back to last July where, you know, everything started happening and I'm like, okay, I am in control of my emotions. I am in control of how I feel. And when you feel that anxiety or anger or whatever it may be, you know, for me, it's a sign of, okay, I need to take care of me. And part of that is taking myself out of the equation. I'm aware of what's going on for sure, but I have to do it in such a way where it does not drive me flipping crazy. And I guess that's all I'll say about the dick.
Right. Well, you know, and I think part of that is, you know, when you, like you said, you wake up, you're feeling good, start of a new month. And this goes back to mindset and about validating how one feels, but not letting it consume. Because let's be real, we can't control, we don't have a cane that you can grab them off the stage. You don't have people that they can't control him. They you know, because once he's out there, he's out there, you never know what you're really going to get. That's part of the problem, I'm sure, from a handler's perspective. But I thought, has our democracy gone down that rabbit hole of we have to handle who's in charge? Like when you even have that conversation, does anyone not realize how crazy that sounds? Because you'll hear the media constantly referred to as handlers, or, you know, his staff handling him. And I thought we've gone down a very unusual path. And like, you're absolutely correct about history. History has a way of judging how things were done, how things were handled, so we don't repeat it. I can't imagine that, and I'm not gonna, you know, you can never say never, because I think if you were to say to us 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that we would have someone that holds that seat, whether you believe he earned it or not, I'll leave it at that. Mm-hmm. That would be you know, outside of our country, disrespecting his own country and trying to dismantle, divide, destroy. I mean, it's every D adjective word that you can come up with, he's doing in a negative way. You could not imagine that 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even you couldn't imagine that this is where we would be today, that you would have someone who is supposed to be the most powerful person in our country with cue cards, with these continued missteps. And it comes to a point where, yeah, a lot of people will do the memes and falling off the bike and, you know, the repeat things. You know, yes, we know that you have to have a sense of humor to get through these hard times. We know that as well. but I don't want to belittle his situation as far as from a medical perspective, because
Right.
we don't know. It's pretty obvious that there's something, whatever you want to call it, that is going on. And you can have that table, in private discussion and, whatever. But the point being is, regardless of all of that, the fact that we, even with the media, refer to, the people that are in charge of him as handlers, whether it's guiding him on the stage, whether, again, you see those memes where he truly looks like he's doesn't even know where he is. That's a scary thing to know, that he also has the codes to certain things. So it's an uneasy feeling knowing that we do not have a strong leader. I do not care what anyone says. It has nothing to do with party, because I always thought Obama was a strong leader. I've rewound that, because I don't think he was. I thought he was. I rephrase that now as that he was very articulate. He was very charismatic. Was he a strong leader? No, but he was charismatic. So he had that polish to him. So even though he, did things that maybe policy-wise you didn't agree with, and that's why, hence he's not there any longer. Plus he had his 2 terms. Well, actually, he's technically on his 3rd term. But the point being that he was polished. He didn't have these, he wasn't being guided on stage. He wasn't coming up with cue cards. He didn't look lost. It was always professional, even though you didn't agree with his policies or his politics. This is, you've got the combination of, you're not really agreeing, and it really should not even be about party at this point. The destruction that is going on in our country, it is real. But the flip side of that is, we know that we live in a universe of abundance, but we still have to revalidate those things, and then we got to put them away, and that's what we're doing. But it is a scary time for a lot of people. They're trying to enjoy July 4th, biting the bullet with paying higher prices for hot dogs went up. Even, you know how you can get the roasted chicken, because a lot of times I'll buy the roasted chicken to make chicken salad or homemade chicken soup, which I did today for a friend of mine / neighbor who's recovering from surgery. I could always buy a nice plumpy, Purdue roasted chicken for $4.99. It's almost $12 now. I mean, think about that.
Well, let me tell you about a little trip I took to the gas pump this morning.
Well, isn't it supposed to be lowered they're doing some, isn't there something he's doing? No?
Well, whatever he's doing, it ain't doing diddly squat.
Yeah.
Over $78 to fill up the Pacifica. That is disgusting.
Yeah.
Last year, let's, now that we're going a little bit down the rabbit hole.
Well,
last year it was, you're saving 17 cents on flipping hot dogs.
Yeah, the hot dog prices have gone up tremendously. Hamburger, chicken, fish. Fish is astronomical as well, which is not your favorite, so you don't care. But I know. But I have to say that I believe in Florida, Governor DeSantis has suspended, I believe he suspended the state tax for gas temporarily, or it's coming up. I'm not sure which. But I actually did notice the prices here come down. I mean, you say come down, they're still over $4. I want to say, I think I saw a spot for like $4.31 or something a gallon, which again is no big bargain, but at least it's lower than it, I mean, literally earlier in the week it was $4.79. So, coming down 40 cents a gallon, when you start saying, well, at least we came down 40 cents a gallon. I mean, do we hear ourselves when you think about that? When literally 2020, December of 2020, we actually flew back for Christmas. And I said, look at the gas prices. And I think it was $1.89 at that point. And then January hit, the current clown was in, and literally just started to creep up. Almost immediately it started to creep up. And no, it's not because of another country or another leader. We have plenty of gas here. We have plenty of fuel. We've got plenty of oil. We're just not using it.
Right. And we could really go down another rabbit hole, but since we're talking about rabbit holes,
Yeah.
so I saw an interesting article. Now, I'm not going to say who the person is right at the moment, but I thought it was a good article. And I thought, freedom of speech, whether you agree with somebody or not, they still have a right to speak the way they feel they need to. That's what's amazing about America. You don't have to agree with the person. You don't have to watch the person on TV or on radio. You see them on the news or whatever on the radio, turn the channel, turn it off. But what I thought was interesting about this article is that everyone is calling for this person's firing. And while I do not care for this person whatsoever, are we that much of a cancel culture type of society? Like, for instance, if somebody doesn't like your point of view, they're going to probably get behind their keyboard, the keyboard bully type of thing. So anyways, this article was about Whoopi Goldberg and everybody calling for her firing. And again, I loved her as an actress.
Why are they calling for her firing? I don't watch that show.
Because of what she said about a particular, a very horrific event with Hitler way back when. With a particular, it was not pleasant what she said or how she said it. She did clarify, and she did apologize. Again, I want to say, I'm not that big of a fan of her anyways. Now, do I agree with what she said? Oh, hell no. Not one iota. I'm glad that she had the opportunity, that she saw the opportunity to apologize for what she said. Absolutely. And I don't like that show anyways, because, I just don't like the show, The View.
I used to like it like years ago.
Yeah, when Barbara Walters was on it.
Right, when it talked about, just, everyday things or whatever. But now, obviously, like a lot of shows, it's become very biased. And, I think you've got to have a happy balance. And sadly, that's why a lot of these shows aren't doing well, because they don't have a happy balance. And they've got, now granted, they are not reporters in the sense of just report the news kind of a thing. It is an opinionated type of show. I get that. And they did try to do their best balancing with, like, they would have, obviously, again, the seat of the table was not balanced. They would have a token conservative with very elitist, liberal agenda type personalities. So they did their best to make it appear that they were balanced, but they're not truly balanced. You're not balanced when you have, 5 people at a table and one is one way, and you've got equal numbers that are on the opposing side. And I think for those that served that seat, they did the best they could, holding, when you've got, 4 people coming after at all times, so whatever the numbers were, because they did vary, I know, from year to year. And, kudos that she did apologize. Hopefully it was sincere.
I think it was sincere. I mean, I really felt that. I wouldn't doubt that.
And I think that's the other key piece to what is the division that's going on. There are some people that, truly believe what they're saying. And as long as they have that latitude to say, ooh, like I came on too strong, or ooh, I stuck my foot in my mouth, because we all do it. Everyone sticks their foot in their mouth. So to say, oh my God, did you hear that outrageous statement? Like, she really, what she said was really, really bad. I have no doubt all people, we all do that at some point in our lives. The difference is you may be in the heat of the moment and maybe it does come out the wrong way. Or the flip side of that is that it did come out the right way. This is truly how I feel, but I'm still going to apologize because I know it hurt people's feelings. This is how I interpret it. This is my truth of how I truly believe. And I understand that you may not agree with me, but I also understand that I didn't want to purposely hurt anyone's feelings. So there's a way of balancing that out. And I think we've lost touch, we've lost sight of that through this division that we're feeling. I know certainly, I've gone down that rabbit hole myself, and I've learned to like rewind. That the bottom line is that a lot of people that are professing these, what we might interpret as far left or far kooky, they truly believe what they're saying. I think there's only a really small number that know it's not correct, but do it anyways because they want to incite something. And sadly, we have a lot of politicians that are like that. But I think that the normal everyday person, and when I say normal everyday person, I don't necessarily mean someone in Hollywood or a celebrity, because they're not an everyday person. They're an everyday person, but because of what they do for a living, puts them in a different category of exposure to getting their word out or their narrative or whatever it may be. I'm talking about the everyday person that's really passionate about their beliefs. We have a family member that's like that, and he truly believes, when we get into those kind of, tug of wars, he truly believes what he's saying. So I can't, I can scratch my head, I can say, doesn't he see the light? But the bottom line is he does believe what he believes. So he's not saying it to be vicious, although sometimes it comes out that way. He truly believes what he's saying. So, do you then argue, and I think this is the point that people have to take a step back to understand it's okay to believe your beliefs, even though they're not the same, even though everything in the world is telling you the complete opposite. That person believes it, but you have to get to a point where you can say, I'm going to say this, it might hurt your feelings, but this is truly how I feel. But my intent is not to hurt your feelings, just this is how I believe it. The other key piece to that, which is the hard part for anybody, is to be open-minded enough to say, let me go down that rabbit hole to how that person thinks and feels, because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm not informed. Maybe I need to do more investigating, or maybe I've got to reevaluate my mindset of why I think what I think. And I don't think we've reached that point that people can, extend the hand, extend the olive branch to let some of this anger and divisiveness and stress settle enough to have a conversation that may be hard, but that you're still willing to go back and forth in a more of a peaceful manner. We're not there yet.
No,
we're a long ways away from that, but I'm hoping, that the more people that, talk about these things and talk about them in a respectful manner, and knowing when you have that conversation, you're really putting yourself out there and you're taking a gamble, because you don't know whether the person's going to be in attack mode, like apparently in this case of Goldie Hodge, or whatever her name is, Goldie. What's her name?
Whoopi
Goldberg, Goldie Hawn. I don't know why I was thinking of her. But anywho, sometimes you set yourself up in such a way that you don't even know how that other person is going to respond to what you're saying. And I think that's the point, that at some point, something's got to give. And sometimes you just have to walk away from it. And that's the only way you have that sanity. Again, validate it, put it in that compartment and say, look, it's out of my control. I can only control how I'm going to act and how I'm going to react. And if I know that I'm really unsure that this person's not going to come in attack mode at me if I have this conversation, it's not the right time to have the conversation, and walk away. And that's hard to do, I think, don't you think? I mean, that's kind of, especially where like your gut tells you, it's correct. Is it better to be right, or is it better to just like walk away?
Well, that's a great question. And it really depends, I think, obviously on the situation at hand. Obviously, we're chatting about politics in general. Politics is a very sensitive subject.
Yeah.
I choose at this point not to engage, especially on social media, about politics, because that depletes my energy.
Mhm.
You know what? We're talking about clutter. To me, that is clutter. And if I specifically know that I cannot have a reasonable, responsive communication, discussion, whatever it may be, then for me at that point, it's like, what is the point? I will listen to what the person has to say. Sometimes I want to process what they say first, to process what they say in order to have a more of an educated response to them. But I think what's lost in these conversations is the ability to listen without interjecting. That's, you know, and I'm guilty of that. I've done that. I've interjected before, like, so I'm very mindful of that. But I think the difference, and this is no means to say that I'm better than somebody else, because I'm not, but I can step up to the plate and say, you know what, I was out of line. Like, I am not afraid to step up to the plate and say, I was wrong. I was out of line. I'm sorry. Let's let's go back. Whereas some people are just not, and that's okay too. So that's why I say at all costs, you do need to protect your energy. And for
Yes.
me, it's not engaging in political type of discussions on social media. I will say, with social media, I mean, obviously it can be a great thing. Here's something I don't understand about social media. You know, when somebody puts up a post and they say, you know, if you don't comment on how we met or yada, yada, yada through Facebook, I'm going to delete you.
I see those types of posts where I'm cleaning out my friends list. Are you one of the lucky ones? Well, if you have 5,000 friends on Facebook, you got to be pretty darn busy, I'm thinking, to have 5,000 friends, because who in the world has 5,000 friends, number one? You know, they could be business acquaintances, people that you, things that you have in common. But why spend that energy testing the waters in such a way that what is the point? I don't even know why people do that. You know, like you said, if you prove to me that you're my friend by sharing my post or reposting my post, and I'm thinking to myself, if you really got to ask the question, don't you already have the answer?
Right. And it's one of those light bulb moments, like, and I think to myself when I see these, did they really think of, like, what was their thought process in posting that? That's what I'm most curious about. Like, you know, just did they get to that point where they wanted people to, you know, engage in, well, I met you through blah, 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 like.
Well, I'm sure, you know, from an entrepreneurial perspective, people are trying to be creative in ways of engagement, because social media is engagement, and the way you engage is by conversation. So I get that, but I'm you know, one of the great things and one of the great tools that I've learned with being an entrepreneur is a call to action. If you're asking them a question, and I think they're utilizing that particular question, as you say, as a call to action, because they do want that engagement. So I do get it, but to me, it's got to be relative to your personal being. Like sometimes I'll say, you know, oh my God, you know, where would you prefer to, you know, vacation? Let's just say on a beach or in a mountain skiing. You know, because both of those things have special meaning to me, or that I, you know, enjoy doing at one time or another. I'm just, you know, again, trying to, for me, when I do that engagement, it's more to lighten the load, because social media is so crazy. I do like reels. Reels are another way to engage with people, and just be your goofy self, you know, humor, you got to have some humor. You know, people are going through things that are really disrupting their mindset. So I think for those that are doing that, if they're an entrepreneur, they're, and I'm not going to answer for them, but my assumption would be they're looking for engagement.
And you know what? And that's perfect for them. And that is their right to do that. Just saying. That's my kind of philosophy.
Right. And that may not be, something, that you necessarily would do, but, for me, I think the one thing, if we're talking about like what bugs us on social media, I think the one thing that would probably bug me on social media is posting, whether it's a serious disease, cancer, recovery, whatever it may be, a loss, someone's mourning someone, whatever it may be. And at the very end, basically, I want to see how many people are going to share this. That to me serves no purpose, because I think everyone is relatable to all of those things. I don't know one family that's scathed from some sort of disease or recovery or tragedy. There is no perfect family out there. There's no perfect family unit. We've all had our bout with all those subjects. And I would like to see them, switch that into saying share, because it's a copy and paste. There's no thought process in it. It's not what the person was feeling. Instead, I would flip that around to say, tell me your journey. What impacted you the most over this disease or this situation? And I think what also happens on social media, people become lazy. Again, it's, you're on your device, click share. There's no personality in it. And I think that's sadly what social media has done, is we've lost the ability to actually have conversation, and we've lost the ability that communication is a two-way conversation. You get to hear the person's voice, the tone. So, pick up the phone and call people. If you've got a subject that, you're really trying to maybe get the word out about, either do it that way or call somebody up and say, hey, I know, your family went through this. What was your take on it? Give me your thoughts. And then that way, if you truly are trying to get insight, if you're trying to utilize that as a means of engagement, there's better ways of doing it. That's all.
So that's a means of engagement, just saying. And we have some clickbait going on with social media. And what is your category of exposure? Bada bing, bada bing.
All right, I didn't hear that last part. We have what bait going on?
Clickbait.
Clickbait?
Yeah.
Enlighten me.
Okay, so clickbait, like you said, or somebody does a social media post and at the bottom they say, oh, share this, blah, blah,
Gotcha.
blah.
I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah. You're correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't be a hostage to clickbait. You heard it here as a public service announcement.
Got it. The click and the bait. All right. I didn't quite hear you. And no, my hearing is pretty good. It's just, I think it just with the internet, there might have been a little blurb, and that's why I didn't quite get the whole bait. I didn't hear the click. Now I get it, sister. I get it. But it is Fantabulous Friday. This is a day that we like to kind of reevaluate our week. How are you going to evaluate your week? Are you, kind of, writing it down? What did I accomplish? Did I meet my goals? Did I kind of flub up? Did I get derailed? Did I have distraction? These are all things that are happening. And what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What you going to do? What you going to do? Because your you is coming for you. So that's the mindset, that your inner self is going to eventually rear its ugly head and make you feel bad that you didn't accomplish it. So squish that part of your brain out and say, look at what did I do that I'm proud of? What did I do that I accomplished, even though maybe it was a smaller stepping stone, but so what? It was still a stone, right? You still took a step forward. Maybe it was that you accomplished, you were going to get your laundry done all week. Maybe you were going to, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to hit some milestones and some different marks within your business. Maybe it could be that you got out of your comfort zone. You did something that took you into, like you just wanted to try it, and you're like, oh God, am I going to do it? And it's like not going to come out great. Or did you just go for it? And now maybe it wasn't as pretty as you would like, but you still did it. So what would be something that you are excited about that you accomplished this week?
Something excited about. Wow. Just some amazing conversations with people literally from around the world. Just excited at always the everyday potential and, you know, being just being me. That's
Boy, that sounded so matriarchy. So
and
Roy,
of course, I have my burpee shirt on.
we're both wearing purple.
Yeah, burpees don't like you either.
I know, burpees, yeah, not one of my faves. I can, and of course, I'm still limited. So today is, I'm working a little bit more with the bands, and I did do some, I've been getting in some good stretches, and I'm gingerly stretching the hip because I know I'm actually going to be starting on prednisone for just 1 week. I'm not a prednisone fan, but if I've got some inflammation going down there, it's going to at least help me ease into whatever they're going to maneuver my body to do, which I'm not really excited about, but it has to be done because, I got to get back on the court. So I'm going to look kooky. But back to real quick, I had some great accomplishments. My last accomplishment of the day is to clean my cluttery desk because I've been working really hard in my business. I was super excited that I've got some new thrivers going that are excited to start their journey. And I'm super excited for them because there's nothing better than sharing all about good gut health. That's our second brain. So I'm excited about those things. And I'm just excited because you know what? It's July 4th weekend. It's going to be a fun weekend. And I'm hoping that everyone, is safe. Don't drink and drive. Sometimes these kinds of weekends, people partake, and it's okay to partake, but just know make sure you've got somebody that's responsible, taking care of you. And, this is a time where everyone, like, the picnicky food comes out. And then you get to that point where, you can enjoy the picnicky food. Don't think that you can't. If you are one that really, and what food group that really gets a bad rap is potatoes. Potatoes are high in potassium. There's a lot of goodness to potatoes. So what I've been doing with either a macaroni salad and or a potato salad is I've been using the veganese, so not the regular mayonnaise, to make it a little bit healthier as far as, the fat contents and all that, and still make it the regular recipe. And I'm telling you, it tastes just as good. So there are ways that you can make those favorites in a healthier version. But guess what? If you can't and someone else is bringing it, don't deprive yourself. Just don't have a whole plate full of it. Don't go back for seconds, thirds, and fourths. Say, you know what? I'm going to enjoy all this meal, but I'm be responsible. Because there's nothing more unflattering than this massive plate of food. Because your body really can't absorb all that food at one sitting. If you really understand, I don't care how big you are, you cannot consider. I mean, yes, you can, but your stomach really can't handle it. So just be mindful of that.
And on that note, we hope you do have an amazing weekend, of course. Not sure if we are going to be on Monday because that is July 4th.
I think we can do it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. You just never know when we're going to show up. And on that note, my name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I am with two.
This says, and this is Carol, so aka Naughty Bus, wishing everyone a very happy July 4th, America's birthday. Block out the noise, enjoy the red, white, and blue. Keep in mind, all those that make it safe, that we have the ability that we can enjoy these holidays. Block the noise out. You enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your family and friends. And we will see you July 4th.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.